Today I want to talk to you about Leuven Open 2014, a tubing competition in April that I went to. I tried to film it vlog style and vlog my journey towards the venue. Well, here's how that went.
Today is competition day. Eat your veggies.
Well,
Yeah.
after my bus trip, I finally arrived in the beautiful city of Leuven. And I was hungry, so it was time for food. Great, so while we're walking towards the venue, I'll talk to you about this competition. It was split into 2 days. The first day, Saturday, we had these events, of which I only knew how to solve the pairings within the time limit.
So let's see how that went. I hadn't properly practiced Spiro in about 10 months, and only the day before the competition I held a proper practice session. So this high 10 made me really happy. As you can see by my solves, I use the layer by layer method. So I solve the bottom layer, in this case I use yellow. Then I solve the middle layer using an algorithm, and then the top, in this case, it is already solved. I don't know what happened here. I probably pressed the zoom button with my fat fingers, but at least you can still see the pairings. And oh look, another 12. Yet again, the camera angle is weird, but this time you can see my beautiful teeth. And look at that, another 12. This means I have 3 counting 12s for my average, unless I do really well on this solve. And my brain got an error. I thought I solved the bottom layer, but one edge, the one in the front, is flipped.
Great, so after these 5 solves, I had an average of 12.49 seconds, which, considering the situation, I think was okay. On to the second day, Sunday, I was competing in the following events: 2x2 and 3.
So as you can see, I am using the roux method. So instead of making a cross on the bottom and inserting pairs, I make 2 blocks. In this case, a blue and a green one. After I finish my blocks, I orientate and permutate the corners of the top layer, which I'm doing here. And then I finish off the last remaining 6 edges. And look at that, a new PR. And on to the second solve. Here I was really messy with my blocks, and a few times I lost the pieces, so I had to look for them, which added to my times, like here. And now we go on to the second step, which is orientating and permutating the corners. I only know 2 log CMML, which means I have to do it in 2 steps instead of 1. But it's already done. And now the edges, and we're done. We start strong with the third solve with a lockup. But we recover from it, and here we finish my first block. The second block took a little longer, but here we insert a pair, and then the last, and ta-da, it's done. Now the corners. Good. Now the last step, which is the edges. Another lockup. And we're done. Maybe this solve will be better. This time we don't have any lockups at the start, although I did lose a piece. But look, the first block is already finished and we're already on to the second block. And now that one is done too. So we do the corners and the edges. My recognition is still a bit low, but we're practicing on that. And despite the annoying dots case, I got another sub 30. So the average of 5 is already in the pocket. It doesn't matter what time I get on this solve. And here I got confused. So it's not gonna be a fast time anyway. What is this hand movement? Even the ghosts are judging me. So after finding that piece, I finally finish my 2 blocks and then I don't recognize the CMML case. And then we get a dots case to make it even slower.
Right after 3x3, it was time for 2x2.
I only learned the Ortega method, which is a proper 2x2 method, a few days before the competition. So don't expect anything too fancy here. My hopes for this competition were to get a sub 10 average. So with that 9, I'm off to a good start. And look at that, a sub 7. So for the Ortega method, you first create a face on the bottom, in this case yellow. Then using an algorithm, you create one on the top. And then using one alg, you finish off the entire cube, which I completely messed up here. So after laughing at myself and being confused, I finally finished the cube within 16 seconds. Now it is time to move on to the 4th solve. And we got a 10. For my last solve, I really need to get a time below 10 seconds if I still want to achieve that sub 10 average of 5. So let's see what happens. And I got a 9. It worked.
Sadly, I didn't make it into any subsequent rounds, so this is where it ended for me. I stayed around a bit to watch other people solve, but then I got really sleepy, so I left and I went to my bed. But before leaving, there was this local Cube Diction sale, a store from the Netherlands, and I got myself a 5x5. Everyone can see the price here. There were more expensive, fancier 5x5s, like the new X-Men Home, which I tried and was really, really smooth. But even though the heart desires, my wallet did not. So a cheap one it is for now. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more like this, subscribe. And see you next time.